What is going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and it is time for another Friday Night Live. What is up? What is up? Man, I'm rusty. Good grief. I don't even know if this is going or not. Oh, goodness. But how's everybody doing? It's been a year, actually a year and a couple of weeks since my last Friday Night Live. A lot has happened. A lot is going on, and we got a lot of cool things planned for this year. So basically, this past year, um, I decided I was going to fish full time, pretty much full time, fish a full gamut of KBF tournaments and stuff like that. And I had a blast. I had a whole lot of fun. You see the couple of pieces of hardware back there, and there's a whole bunch of checks on the floor down in the back. But anyway, so I had a pretty good year. Finished second in Angler of the Year points, and so that my goal going in was just to I just wanted to gauge to see where I was. It'd been so many years since I got serious about finishing tournaments. I just wanted to see if all those years of making videos had done me any good. So, like I said, second in Angler of the Year points, and my goal was to qualify for the 10, the KBF the 10 tournament, which is the top 10 guys in Angler of the Year points fishing against each other for 10 grand. So that's kind of what's going on. That's what I'm getting ready for. I'm leaving next week. Going to head down there. The tournament's not till the end of the month, but I'm going to get down there and kind of do what I normally do, get there a week or two early and kind of go to lakes that I enjoy going to down in Central Florida. And so, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then fish the tournament, the trail series, 2 trail series tournaments, and the 10 Invitational at the end of the month. And then the first weekend, or during the first week of February, going to fish the 2-day 10 tournament, which is pretty cool. So how's everybody tonight? Where's everybody from? Good grief. We already got 152 people on it. You know, it's been a year since I've done this. You guys are supposed to forget about this and just forget it exists. Oh, goodness. But I've got some business things I want to go through. We got some really, really cool things. I've partnered with one of my best friends, Chad Hoover, to do some things this year that is fun for subscribers, and more more stuff for you guys and for me to be able to interact with you guys and things like that. So that's kind of what I want to go over. And I've covered up my notes. I need to move my notes around. Let's put them over. Let's put them right here. That'll work. Then all right. But let's see. Arkansas, Ontario, Canada. That's awesome. That's awesome. Pennsylvania. Fishing with Gramps. I was on his podcast, yesterday or day before yesterday? Anyway. He's got a really good YouTube channel up and coming and rocking and rolling, and he's actually part of this, one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight. Jody Carter, how you doing? Doodad's Laboratory. Go Dogs. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about that for a minute. My dogs are going back to the national championship. Yes, sir. If you guys didn't know, I've been a fan since I was in elementary school. And so 41 years, 42 years. And so I've been a fan since the last time Georgia was good or was awesome. But anyway, so it's pretty exciting to have them back in the national championship. I was sweating that last game against Ohio State, but goodness gracious, it somehow, some way we ended up winning that one. But I'm excited about this Monday, about my dogs going and playing. So anyway, it's awesome. Mark Middleton from Portland. I used to live in Salem, Oregon for a little while. That's for sure. All right, so let's go through some of the things that's going on this next year. ATL Clutch, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. It says, great to see you, Gene. Hope the dogs go back to back. Also, any knowledge on Jackson Lake this time of year? We're putting in at Razor's Landing. It's been so many years since I fished Jackson. It's changed so much. We used to do really good in the mouth of the rivers where the South and the Yellow River came in on those sandbars this time of the year. But like I said, it's been many, many years. All right, back to the stuff. One of the things that's going on is me and a bunch of other YouTubers. I don't know if Alex Rudd is fully committed to it. Yeah, I know his name has popped up in it. He might be doing it, but who else is doing it? Well, I forget. I don't have the list up. Anyway, there's a bunch of YouTubers doing it, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. It's a tournament for subscribers, and it's $15. It's a let me get this right. There's a 4-month tournament. Gosh, I'm going to confuse you if I don't get this right. So it's 4 1-month tournaments. Okay, so February, March, April, May, me and Chad are doing a tournament, and then the other guys are going to pick their tournaments, their 4 months, and everybody's going to be done by end of August. Is basically what it is. Entry fees: you pick the YouTuber or YouTubers, you can do multiple, that you want to, whose tournament you want to compete in, and it's $15 a month is what it is. So it's a low entry, just to have fun, $15 entry fee. Okay, and so basically what that does is it's your best 5 fish during a month long, and we're going to go on Fishing Chaos in just a second, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. But at the end of it, in October, we're going to have a championship tournament. The winners of each month are part of my fishing team or part of one of the other YouTubers' fishing team if you won one of theirs. And hopefully, if we have enough entries, I'm able to give you a good amount of money to be able to drive or travel to Huntsville, Alabama, where we're going to have the championship. We're going to have a big, fun get together, good party, have a good time, and it's going to be we're going to have 5-member teams fishing up against each other for, I think, 1 day. Don't quote me, I might be wrong, but a 1-day tournament on Guntersville or Wilson or Wheeler. Sorry, Guntersville or Wheeler. And gosh almighty, it's going to be so much fun. Now, one of the stipulations is it's bank fishing or kayak fishing. I haven't gotten the approval for boat fishing yet. That might happen. We got to talk a little bit more about it, but for right now, it's bank fishermen and kayak fishermen for the monthlies. And if you win a monthly and you're standing on the bank, I'm going to make sure you're in a kayak by the time you get down to Alabama. That's for sure. But anyway, so let me share my screen real quick. All right. So you go to fishingchaos.com or you download the Fishing Chaos app on your phone, and they both look pretty much the same, whether you're looking online or anything else. It opens up, looks something like this. Of course, this is one of the tournaments I was in last year, but go over here to Trailer Club over here on the left-hand side, Trailer Club, and click on KBF. That stands for Kayak Bass Fishing. Go right down here to Tournaments, and then scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see Knucklehead. This is right here. This is another tournament, a free one. We're doing a weight loss challenge. A bunch of us are basically just holding each other accountable for losing weight because I gained all mine back at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Anyway, click on Knucklehead, the Knucklehead tournaments, and that's what we're calling this, is the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. Chad's got a whole reason why he spelt it that way. I don't remember what it is, but a few things you've got to know. Let me pull my notes up again. I already clicked out of them. So you download the app. Now you go down here and you join KBF. It's one of the rules. You got to be a member of KBF, but you can do the free membership or the ambassador membership are required for participation in the tournament. So you can there's a free membership, or you can pay, I can't remember how much, not that much, for the ambassador membership. And the ambassador membership also allows you to be able to fish the KBF Challenge Series tournaments that are the KBF monthlies. But anyway, read the competition rules. Okay, the rules are for kayak tournaments. If you're bank fishing, you're smart enough to understand the rules that are about kayak tournaments and just kind of delete all that stuff in your head. Don't let that bother you. But my preference is to have everybody kayak fishing anyway. So read the competition rules and then go and read the event rules. These are the rules that are pertaining specifically to the event and everything else. The teams are Team Chad, Team Fluke Master, Team Grants, Team Wendell, which is Wendell's Fishing. And there's going to be 2 or 3 more. And we're talking to some pretty famous people outside of the fishing world that are really good friends of mine and Chad's that we can't announce yet, but they're also going to jump in the middle of it. All right. So you've done all that. Pretty simple and easy. Click the register button, that green button on the right-hand side. I'm going to skim through all these now. Hold on. I'm not sure what pops up on the next screen. So I'm going to do this real quick. Okay. Click on the myself, get everything. Yeah, I'm glad I did because that's my phone number and everything else. And then it asks for your angler information. You click on angler information. Okay. And then, all right. So, and you find yourself over here where it says Team Chad Wendell, Team Wendell, May, June, August, July. Make sure you're picking the right month. So you go down here to Team Fluke Master, February, and click add to cart, and then you just finish everything from there. So go to your cart and finish it just like you were shopping. So that's how you enter the tournaments. Pretty simple. Just make sure you read the rules and do everything else. And then I will have a tutorial pretty soon about how to use the app to enter your fish and stuff like that. So, whew, that was a lot. But this should be a lot of fun. It should be just a blast. There's going to be prizes for the winners of each month. And I'm going to try to get prizes from my sponsors like 13 Fishing, Motor Guide, a bunch of my other sponsors, try to get some to where I can ship stuff. Now, the $12 entry fee goes to me, but it's going to go into my account, and it's going to be to pay to have to get people there to Alabama. It's going to pay to get a couple of extra kayaks that I might be giving away if I can make enough money to do that. I just want to be able to take that money and dump it right back into the prizes. That way you guys don't have to send me a W-9. I don't have to do all the tax stuff and everything else. It'll all be prize based and things like that. But it's going to be really, really cool. The championship, I want you guys, and I missed this part, but the championship is a guaranteed payout of $10,000. Okay. That's total guaranteed, total payout, $10,000 right there. Chad's going to, KBF is putting that up. But it should be a whole lot of fun, guys. It really should. I'm pretty dang excited about it. But what's your opinion? Really, I'm gonna read the comments. Melody Coughlin, thanks for the $20. She says we missed you from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I lost 171 pounds. Whoo! Oh goodness. And I'm not gonna try to say his screen name. Pop the question 6.323. Oh, 6.323. We've met Chad. You're next on our list. Come to our wedding and fish with us. That would be awesome. That would be totally awesome. Thanks for the $20. Oh, congratulations on the anniversary. I've been married for almost 23 years. I got smart. I got married in the year 2000. So February 11th of 23 is 23 years. But yeah, my biggest secret to a long marriage is every single day, no matter how you feel about each other, you better say you love them. Even if you're other side of the world, find a way to communicate and tell your spouse you love them. It works 100%. So it's happened recently where we went to bed mad at each other, and we both stopped and said, "I love you," and then we went to sleep. Oh goodness! So that ought to be a whole lot of fun, anyway. RJM says yes, it'll be fun for all of us. That's cool. And $15, I hope that isn't a whole lot. And you know, we kind of played around. We were trying to figure out what to charge for it. But I think $15 is a good number. And then, like I said, I'll put it into a till. I'll use it to buy. I'm going to, contact Bonafide, and I don't want them to be out any money. So I'll buy kayaks from them, or buy kayaks from Westbrook, or buy kayaks from somewhere, and start using them as prizes. If I don't do that this year, then as it grows and gets bigger next year, I'll do it, stuff like that. But I know I can talk a few of my sponsors out of product. That ought to be a whole lot of fun. Gosh, should not have eaten the chicken noodle soup tonight. Anyway, my wife made chicken noodle soup and I love it. Let's see. And yes, Jeremy asked, can you join them all? Yes, you can. If you want to up your chances to win, You can join every single one of them. You sure can. Now, if you end up winning and you win more than one, then you get to pick which YouTuber you win, and then the second place guy from the other one wins, moves up. So it is what it is. So Jeremy Way says, I'll have to fly down and borrow a kayak for the championship after I win a couple of the months. Dude, I'll have a kayak. If anybody needs to borrow one, I'll have probably one set up. We'll see. But between me and Chad, we should have enough kayaks for a couple of guys anyway. So, but those of you who are just jumping on, it's been a year. And I've told, I must say you guys, but I told many subscribers, I told you guys that if I ever got serious about tournaments, that the videos would take a huge hit, because I can do it 110% one way or the other. I can't do both, not by myself. And so I went full bore kayak tournaments this year, and finished second in Angler of the Year points, which I'm very, very proud of. And I'm fishing the biggest tournament of the year. The early February is my last tournament. And so end of January, early February is my last tournament down in Florida. It's the KBF the 10, which is the top 10 finishers in Angler of the Year points go head to head for $10,000. So it ought to be a whole lot of fun. So Jeremy, yes, I do remember that 100%. Jeremy says, do you remember me pulling you aside at the national championship and thanking you and Chad for everything you've done? I do, man. Totally do. Oh, yep. You got me all choked up about that one. I remember that. All right. So the second one. All right. Let me go back over here to. All right. So if you download the Fishing Chaos app, over here to the left, you'll see charter. I'm going to guide a little bit this year, and Fishing Chaos has a section that pretty much manages your guide's calendar and everything else. And I'm in the middle of setting it all up. I have to get one little thing tweaked on it so I can be able to launch mine and make it public. But I'll go down and open up Chad's page. Okay. So mine will be down here too with that list. So you click on charter. If you open up Chad Hoover's deal, these are the days he's available, and mine look worse than that. I'm telling you. January, February filled up quick with trade shows and things like that. But anyway, so he's got all of his different packages right here. The ones that I'm doing as of right now I'm doing a full day of kayak fishing. I'm charging a little bit more than him. A half day of kayak fishing. In-depth electronics. Mine will be on the water. It'll be a 4-hour deal. And then I'm also doing where's it at? Virtual seminar. So if you guys don't want to travel down here and fish in Gunnersville or Wilson or Wheeler, then we'll definitely be able to get online and do something like what we're doing right here, but more one-on-one, where we sit down and we talk, and you show me things and I show you things, and we just dig into everything for an hour. I use the word hour loosely because I love to do this. So, if it runs an hour and a half to 2 hours, it doesn't make any difference to me. But I'm charging the same thing as Chad, is $100 for that. But a virtual seminar with me, where we just kind of hang out and do it one-on-one. We set up a time and we just go at it. And I'm excited about that. Just because I love it so much. But anyway, I hope it all works out. But that's pretty much what I'm doing. It's just a guide page is all it is. But if you guys wanted to fish with me or Chad Hoover or the both of us, we can actually set it up to where you guys can group as you can book as a group, and then me and book both me and Chad, and we do it together and we have a good old party. But anyway, that should be a whole lot of fun. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, there is no third thing. Nope, no third thing. I thought I'd written something down, but I didn't. So, but that's cool, man. I'm happy about that. So, Muscle Milk Daddy, that would be really cool. He says, hold on. He says, how much to have you come to my local lake and show me how a real man fishes it? I didn't read that last part. That's funny. So I used to guide like that back in the day when YouTube was pretty small, and I had to keep my wife happy. because I was spending so much money on fishing. But I used to go and travel to other people's lakes and take them fishing on their lakes and show them how I find fish on their lakes and get them ready for the next 2 or 3 months, which is something that may happen in the future. It's just not going to happen this year. But it wasn't cheap because you had to pay to get me there, had to pay to put me up, and had to pay to have me go out on the water and time and everything else. And so it wasn't cheap. A few people took advantage of it, but yeah, that'll be further down the road. It's definitely not going to be this year. I just don't have a grasp on my schedule yet. So we will have to see. Thanks for that question. That's awesome. So let's start the important part of this. Let's start a little the Q&A that I love to do. Now in the future in these things, I'm going to have guests. I know I'm going to have Chad come on there. I may have a few other people, especially some of these YouTubers we're doing this tournament with, Alex Rudd and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. So let's see. Fishing with Gramps is answering questions for me. Where did Big Stars? He says, have you done a new mods to your SS127 lake? No, I'm still fishing out the same one from last year. But my next kayak's going to be the new Bonafide River 119. I think I got my numbers right. 119. Yeah. The RVR 119, but I'm calling it the River 119 because it is a river kayak. I want a kayak that I can drag up and down these creeks and rivers here in Rome. I've got the Coosa River, the Oostanula River, and the Etowah River right here in downtown Rome, right down the road from my house. And then I've got a bunch of creeks and stuff that are full of spotted bass, and it should be a whole lot of fun. But I just haven't had a kayak that's really good for that kind of water, that little skinny water. And the RVR 119 is going to be that kayak. It ought to be. I'm excited. They're just starting to fill orders right now, and I should get mine somewhere middle of February or something like that. So anyway, you'll see that one. But the 127 staying the same. I'm so happy with that setup from this last year. I don't see any reason to change it. So TJ Davis, thanks for the $5. Says, y'all remember Ultimate Match Fishing? I want a kayak version. Fluke versus Christine. Go Frogs. Oh man, that would be pretty cool. I want yeah, but we'd have to make it a TV show, and that's still a while away before kayaking has enough money to be able to pay that kind of TV money. So have I fished Parksville Lake? Yes, I have. When did I fish Parksville? Oh, where's Parksville Lake? I've fished it before, and I can't remember where it was. Anyway, is your son fishing in Georgia high school tournaments this year? No, he graduated. And John David really isn't much of he's my music kid. He got the music side of me and not the fishing side of me. So nope. Let's see. Polk County, Tennessee. Yes, I have fished Parksville. I fished it with Alex and a couple other guys, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we did. We threw big swim baits trying to catch those giant spotted bass that are in there. So, all right. So RJM Fishtails asks, what is your plan fully this year? YouTube and charters. Will you go back to some tournament fishing for a year again, or was that the year only time to do it? I don't think I'm going to go back anytime soon to fishing full on tournaments. My YouTube channel really, it fell kind of stagnant. It still grew a little bit, but it kind of fell a little stagnant, which I knew it was going to do. If I don't do anything this year, if I go back to fishing tournaments, it's basically just going to fall off a cliff. And I don't want that to happen. I want to keep rocking and rolling with it. So I've got goals this year of 80 videos, 80 to 100 videos. This charter stuff and some of the other things I've got going on may hurt that number a little bit, but I don't think so. I'm back to editing myself. I'm back to doing everything by myself. So I'm kind of excited about that. So that's the main goal. Is just and my videos this year are going to be really bait heavy. Kind of like what I did in, I think, October. I did a little test in October to see how they would do. And I'm kind of going to do that, plus doing it to where I have, the 5 baits of the month videos and then instructionals for each of those baits. Doing that each month will make it to where I have enough time and I feel right about doing other videos, maybe sponsor videos or maybe just more detailed, in-depth videos for other things. But the bait ones are really going to be my meat and potatoes this year because they do so well and you guys love to watch them. And I'm just going to dive into detail about every little bait, not just a general idea of a type of bait, you know. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Justin Collins says, I don't have a kayak, but I'd love to join the tournament. And then if you don't, you can bank fish. And like I said, if you have a boat, hold on. I got to try to talk to Chad about that. And it may or may not happen. But for right now, the tournament's bank fishing or kayak fishing. So, Proud Dad says, I'm taking your advice on buying a terminal tackle every pay period. Buying terminal tackle every pay period. What size tungsten bullet and worm weight should I stock up on? I fish in Georgia. Go Dogs. My primary weights are the one I use the most is 3/8. The one I use the least is a 1/2 ounce. So I use quarter, 5/16 and 3/8 the most. And I always have. And that's what I have to order a lot, you know, because I'm always going through them. And then, but it's always nice to have a 1/2 ounce if I'm fishing deep. But like I said, here in Georgia, quarter, 5/8 and 3/8 will, or 5/16 and 3/8 will work just fine. So, oh, crud. Let's see. Plans for ICAST this year. What are my plans for ICAST? I'm going to go. It'll be my 14th ICAST, I think. The only one I didn't go to was the one they had in Vegas because I don't really ever want to go to Vegas. It's not one of the things that's on my bucket list. So, let's see. Am I going to be at the Classic Expo in Knoxville this year? Probably. I don't usually miss them. So I probably will be there working booths. I haven't been, usually somebody wants my kayak in a booth somewhere. I haven't been asked yet. I may put some feelers out before I get it real dirty and see if anybody wants it in there. So let's see. ATL Clutch. She said, I'm actually heading back to school going to get my diploma at Georgia Tech. I've been running low on my toilet paper stash. My oldest brother used to teach at Georgia Tech many years ago, back when I was probably 17, 18 years old. He was or actually he's younger than that. Anyway, he taught calculus while he was getting his doctorate. So he was my genius brother. Let's see. Joshua Anderson says, I really love using Zoom Flukes last year, and I caught a 5-pound bass on it. That's awesome, man. Awesome. When are you doing another live from Westbrook? I'll be doing probably one every month or one every other month. We haven't nailed down a date yet, but I'm definitely going to be doing them from there, especially the new Westbrook. They moved out of the little bitty shop and into the one next door, which is 4-5 times bigger. And it's just awesome. It's got some awesome stuff in it, and they can hold a whole lot more kayaks. But that's, yeah, we'll see. We got to nail down some dates. Chris Red, what's up, Gene? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Chris. Happy New Year to all of you. So, Josh, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name because I'll kill it. I know most people don't like sitting kayaks, but I've outfitted my Perception Sound and have really enjoyed it. Works great on the rivers up here in Michigan and provides a little cover in the cold. I can see that, and I agree with you 100%. It's for me, I've always enjoyed to sit on top because I know if I get water over the side, it's not going to collect it. But if you get one high enough, especially if you're in rivers, man, sitting inside is pretty good. Now, this River 129 is a sit on top, but Hans, the designer, he's a river rat. He loves kayaking and fishing in rivers, so he knew what he wanted, and he has probably 15 years been thinking about this kayak and designing it in his head and designing it on napkins and stuff like that. But if you watch the video that he just launched on Facebook, and I shared it on my Facebook page, if you watch that video all the way through, you'll see the amount of detail. I mean, when I say detail, I mean one of the things you want to do when you're river fishing is you want to be able to bring your kayak up on top of something, or you want to be able to bring it and drag it over top of things, or drag it up hills, down or down hills or up hills or wherever you're going to get to your truck or from your truck. And the problem with most kayaks is they have a keel down the center of them, and so when you drag it up on rocks, they slide off to the side, or they tilt to the side, and some of them tilt so far you can dump your crap out. You see what I'm saying? So he's designed it to where there's actually a spot on the underside front of the kayak that's below the water line when you're paddling, but you run your kayak up on the bumps or rocks or logs to hold your kayak still while you're fishing, and it's a flat spot, and it rolls up and you stay flat. And it's amazing. And he's got rocker in it, so it can go forward or backwards. It's really, really, it's just a river boat. And I can't wait to get in it. So yeah, go watch that video. I could talk about it for a while, but it's best to go watch him kind of describe it, since he gets all geeked out about the whole design and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Let's see. What's your favorite bait that was released in 2022? The little mini max or mini mag chatterbait that thing is absolutely nice, because they comes in 1/2 ounce and 3/8 ounce, which are the two sizes that I use the most. And it's just a smaller profile, smaller rattle. I mean, smaller sound or lighter sound and everything else. It's just, and I caught a lot of fish on it. I still use the jackhammer a lot more, and caught a lot more fish on a jackhammer, but that little mini max is awesome. So Drew says, I know you have a couple of videos about bank fishing, but would you love some content on how to break down a body of water from bank fishing standpoint? What baits and techniques work the best from the bank? That kind of stuff. Love the content. I've got a couple of videos like that. Go on my channel and click on the search bar that's on my main channel page, and then look up bank fishing, and you'll be able to find it. But yeah, that's a good idea. I've got a couple of places that'll work really, really good. I've got one lake in Alabama that I could do that really good on, and it's one that I can put my kayak in, but I'll actually get on the bank and I'll show you kind of what I look for when I'm bank fishing, because it's got points and all kinds of cool stuff. So that should be not so hard to do. So that'll be one of those extra videos. That'll be awesome. Gene, you could always call out Edwin Evers to fish with his kayak. Oh, that would be fun, man. He's actually building a new lake. We talked about it when I was at his house. And he's got it all. I mean, he's got it all dug out, and he's putting in structure and stuff like that. I can't wait to see it. So, any new sponsors you're excited about? Did I sign any new contracts? I don't think I have. I'm working on a shoe contract, but my problem is I've got some really funky sized feet, 9.5 5Es. So hardly any shoes fit me. That's why I wear Crocs. I've got dudes on right now because they stretch out as well. But yeah, working on the shoe stuff. Nothing new. Nope, not that I can think of. So, Jonathan Davis, appreciate it, man. You going to the East Tennessee Fishing Show? No, I'm not. I'm going to be down in Florida fishing that tournament. I wish I was, though. I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows. So, ATL Clutch, man, thanks for the $5. I'll get to your comment here in just a minute. Let's see. Could you give us your insight into why the bite was so tough last summer? I figure some advice would be nice for this year if we get another heat wave. I know in my lake, the bite, it wasn't tough. You just had to realize what was going on. It was so hot. We were fishing 93, 94 degree water temperature or surface temperature. And the thermocline was only like 7, 8, 9 feet deep. No, it got down to 12 eventually. But the problem is that the where the most dissolved oxygen was, where the bass wanted to live because they could breathe, my lakes don't have any grass. They don't have any current. So there was no way of stirring up the oxygen. And so the bass were found in about a 1 foot section of the water column between 9 feet and 10.5 feet is where we'd find them in any kind of structure, rocks or anything that was at that depth. That's where the bass were. And once you realize that, then you could go around and you could catch fish every day and do it pretty good. But a lot of times they were in such a funk because they were so stressed out because there was just that little bit of oxygen that they just wouldn't bite. And the way to fix that on a small lake where you have control over the management is to put in something that aerates the water, water fountains or something that aerates the water, bubbles and stuff like that. So, but my lake's it's a state-run lake, so they're not going to do that. They're just going to deal with it the way it was. The other issue that we have with ours is we've had 2 years of shad kills in the wintertime, so the shad population is down about half of what it normally was back when the bass were really healthy. So Joshua Anderson, my biggest bass I caught last year is that picture ID. It's 6 pounds on a football jig with a rage crawl. That's awesome, dude. I love a jig fish. I don't care how big it is. It's awesome. Congratulations. Michael Moon, what's up, man? I still owe you and your daddy a fishing trip. I have not forgotten. Not forgotten. And I'll have plenty of time to do it this year. You should come to do Friday Night Live from Bucks Island as well this year. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I might hit Mike up for that. So let's see. Have you ever thought of fishing Major League Fishing? No, not really. Not really. I'm good friends with Ryan Saltzman. Matter of fact, I was on his podcast this last week, and there's just too much. It costs too much, and I still got family and my wife and stuff like that. But I think I got my fill of tournaments this last year for a while. I love doing these videos. I really do, and I missed it. And it's going to be hard to get back into the swing of things. It really is. It's kind of like not going to church for a few weeks. The more and more you don't go to church, the easier it is not to go to church. And it's kind of, videos are about the same thing. The more and more I don't do videos, the easier it is for me just to not do videos. So I got to get back into the swing of things and get back into editing and get my feet up underneath me. And I'm going to do that a little bit between now and the tournament at the end of this month, but I'm not going to be focused on videos. I want to win that tournament so bad. And if I win that tournament, I'm going out with a bang, and then I'm just going to go videos, and then I'll start rocking and rolling. So, do you have to be older than 18 to enter the knucklehead competition? We haven't talked about that, Caden. I know it has to do. I know in KBF, if you have a son that's fishing a tournament, a KBF tournament, who's under 18, he has to have an escort, or you have to be within striking distance of your child. That's the way me and Jordan fished during the national championship. We were within striking distance of each other. So, but yeah, we'll have to clarify that. It's a good thing. I mean, well, I'll just remember it. So let's see. CKL Spencer, looks like you're going to Florida. You're going to fish that tournament with us. That's awesome, man. What about a fluke in the winter? The only thing I do a fluke in the winter is I put a jig head on it because I'm fishing pretty deep. I'm fishing, anywhere from 15 to 40 feet deep in the wintertime, depending on the lake. And I want to put a lead head on it or something like that, an underspin, some way to get it down to the bottom a little bit faster and work it down there where the bass are. So, and not all bass go deep in the wintertime, but most of them do. And so it's easier to find bass deep in the winter. So, I woke up at 4 this morning, couldn't go back to sleep. I was wired, so I'm kind of tired. So I'll yawn while I'm doing this, but it is what it is. What's your quick opinion on live scope being used in tournaments? I love it. I love it. I love it. It has changed the way I fish. And people were asking the same thing when Side Scan came out. I remember the first Bassmasters Classic that Side Scan was out. Now, the only company that had it was Humminbird. Okay, and so there were pros that had their Lowrances or their whatever other units they had. They had their Lowrances up here, but down on the floorboard under their dash or under their console, they had a Humminbird Side Scan, and it was wired out the back of the boat. Everybody in the Classic had one because if you weren't using it, you were getting beat by it. and it's technology. And I never have been one to say no to technology, because this builds on the next thing, builds on the next thing, and it's just going to be, it's just another tool. It took me 3 months to learn how to use it and use it right. And it saved a few tournaments this last year. I'll tell you that for sure. I don't have a problem with it. And like I said, I don't have a problem with technology at all. So I'm going to jump ahead. I kind of got behind like I normally do. ATL Clutch, this is your donation for $5. Thanks again, man. He says, wish me luck on Jackson tomorrow and hope I don't smash my lower unit on a log with all the trash from Atlanta. Take care, Gene. Boy, it used to be worse than it is now. I promise. Jackson used to have nasty water back in the 80s. You know, they would tell you don't eat any fish out of Jackson because it had so much nasty water coming out of Atlanta. So a lot of the water itself is a lot cleaner. But yeah, there's still trash that floats down those rivers, especially after a heavy rain. So yeah, the South River and the Yellow River come straight out of downtown Atlanta. So that's what he's saying. Nathan, I don't know what fish would bite in West Tennessee. I don't know. I mean, a bass is a bass is a bass just about anywhere. So just look up videos and content on fishing this time of the year, what baits, how to use them, and things like that, and you should be good. So what's my favorite soft plastic? If I was only allowed to fish one soft plastic, it would still be just a regular 7.5-inch straight tail worm, like a trick worm, a Zoom trick worm. I don't have a whole lot of favorites because I like to use everything. I like to try everything. But yeah, a dang trick worm would be really, really cool. Would be my choice for my one I would use the most. Can you do the virtual charter while I'm on the water and show you what I'm seeing on my electronics? I know there's got to be a way to do it. Probably through Zoom. I could probably do it through Zoom. But I'm going to be probably using StreamYard right here to do it. I don't know. I got to figure out and see how I'm going to do it. But yeah, dude, that would be awesome. Be a little challenging, but that would be awesome. Benjamin Johnson Fisher, what do you think of those Meta Series rods and reels? I'm excited to try them out. I've only seen the ads for them, and I've seen a lot of ads, which tells me that they are really putting some money into promoting them and stuff like that. Kind of makes me worried that maybe, I don't like hyped up stuff. I guess that's you'd say. I always kind of steer clear of hyped up stuff. You guys remember when the chatterbait first came out? Most of you, some of you probably do. It was hyped up big time because it was caught. It was fished in the classic and and just I was just like, no. It was probably 2 years before I fished a chatterbait. but yeah, that's crazy. So, Applin's Heart, man, thanks for the $20. It says, when are you coming to Clarksville again to help me out? God bless and be safe. Keep fishing. I don't know. This year's wide open. So, I miss fishing Clarks Hill. It's going to be in the spring during the top water if I go during the blueback spawn. So, Zach DMD or Chan DMD, Gene, been watching you since your Clarks Hill days when I was at dental school in Augusta. MCG, baby. Thanks for all you do to teach people to fish. You've taught me a ton over the years. Thanks, man. Appreciate the $10. I really do. But yeah, I used to work at Medical College of Georgia. I've worked weekend nights in the X-ray department. But yeah, he was at the MCG at the dental school. So that's awesome. Am I going to come and fish any of the Berries tournaments this year? Probably not. Probably not. My boat, I'm actually trying to get it ready to sell. I just haven't got the title for it because Alumacraft never sent me the title. So I'm kind of fighting over that right now, trying to get them to do that for me because it's a 2019 and they were supposed to send me the title in 2020. And of course, COVID and everything else, it just never happened. So, Trit Fishing, back to football. How key was Kirby's timeout before the kick? It was one of the greatest timeouts I've ever seen called in my lifetime. Holy cow. If you guys didn't watch that, dude, that was like clutch. amazingly clutch. So let's see. Kayak companies need to build a transducer mount for live scope right into the kayaks. You know it's coming. So I'm working with a company called, and this is a new company, but it started last year, called Sniper Marine, and they just sent me a box. I haven't even opened it yet. My wife opened it probably 20 minutes ago. But anyway, just sent me a box with the new kayak pole in it, and it is set up, or it's supposed to be set up to where it hooks up to your regular Yak Attack base. And so it will hook to any kayak. If you have gear tracks, you can get the yak, you have a Yak Attack base and everything else, and everything hooks up to it. And I love that Sniper pole. Now, the first one I got was just their converted bass one, and it was just shorter for a kayak, and it was expensive, like $700. But this one is a lot less than that. I haven't looked and seen the price yet, but basically, instead of twisting the whole pole, you just turn a handle. Is all you do. And the handle, and it's got an arrow on the top of it, so you know which way it's pointed. You just turn a handle, and it's so easy, and it's lightweight, and it stows away really good. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a really good pole for your live scope. And I think Yak Attack might come out with something, a pole or something. But I really think that if you look at these other companies that are making them already, who have made all the mistakes, like Sniper Marine, and have really fine-tuned their stuff, that'd be which way I'd go. But I love mine. So how long have I been with 13 Fishing? 7 years. You'll have to go back and look at my videos to find out, but 7, I think. Yeah, long time. Long time. Have you attended any Fishing with Legends tournaments? I have not. I think I've heard of them, but I've never done any investigation into them. So Terry says, hope you have a great year, Gene. Are you still using the On the Water Innovations trailer? I ordered a tourney double similar to yours months ago. Denny should be building it in February. Can't wait. Yeah, he's backed way up. I love my trailer. Now, understand that they're the best trailers on the market. And I tell people this, I said in the video when I showed it to people, I didn't want a Joe Schmo kayak. I needed one that was going to last 30, 40, 50, 60,000 miles a year. And so I had to get a really good one. And Danny builds, right in his shop, builds the best kayak trailers on the market, and they're not cheap. So mine, I think, retailed for $6,400 is what it retails. But mine's got all the bells and whistles and all the customization and the LED lights and everything else. So, but yeah, it's they're good, man. It's going to last me for years and years. Michael Moon from Dad. He's glad you took his advice and restarted Friday Night Live. Also, yes, he wants to the fishing trip reserved for next year. Also, War Eagle. Anyway, I got you, bro. Tell your dad I'm sorry. Tournaments got in the way, so for sure. Let's see. Are you getting a new Alumacraft? That's actually a really good question, Jeff. So during COVID, Alumacraft, they're owned by BRP, which is based up in Canada. Now, some of this is speculation on my part, but when COVID started, that early spring, of course, they're still frozen. Nobody's fishing up there but ice fishing. And so they decided it would be a perfect time to do what they wanted to do later on, was close the plant in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, which makes all the all-weld boats, all the green boats, all of the bass boats, all the ones that don't have any rivets. They wanted to close it and move it up to Minnesota. And they said, oh, nobody's going to go fishing. Everybody's going to lock themselves in their house. And it's a perfect time to do this. So they closed it down, tried to move everything up to Minnesota. Of course, people in Arkansas don't want to move to Minnesota. So I'm imagining they lost a bunch of employees that way. And then they got up there and realized that they couldn't do it. And they were caught with their pants down. And so they suspended all production of all welded boats. and for the foreseeable future. If they ever start making them, I don't know. At this point, they're not even talking about it. And so, no, I won't be getting another Alumacraft because I just don't feel like I can sell a riveted boat, those deep V riveted boats. Plus, I hate fishing out of them anyway. But I wouldn't be able to sell one of those down here. So I've still got my 2019. I'm getting it ready to sell. I'm going to sell it pretty soon. It's got very few hours on it. It's got less than probably around 300 hours if I had to guess. I only take it out for high school tournaments, and my kids aren't fishing high school tournaments anymore. So I'm going to be selling that pretty soon just to get it out before it sits too long. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, Alumacraft, they just made some bad business decisions as far as I'm concerned. And I wish they hadn't. And I hope, and I'm not going to get another boat sponsorship anytime soon because I'm really hoping that they start making them again. And if they do, I'm going to get right back on board. So, but I love fishing out of a kayak anyway. Backwoods Bassin, I don't know much about Sinclair. So I fished it probably 3 times in my lifetime. Let's see. I'm trying to get past all the Georgia comments. I've already talked about Georgia Bulldogs. So, yeah, Trit says they can come take my Phoenix out anytime you want. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So just as long as you're in it, huh? Yeah, Alumacraft thought no one would be fishing, but more people started fishing. Yeah, I wish they would have called me down here in the South and asked what was up, and I would have told them we couldn't even find parking spaces at the boat ramps. So DNR was literally turning people away at the boat ramp up here, and there's 3 parking lots, and they were all full. So let's see. What ratio reels do you like? Actually, Carrie, that's a really good question. So I spent all day today organizing my reels, pulling line off from last year, and getting ready to put new line on and getting them ready for this next year. And I have a lot of 8-5 or 8-3 to 1s. I have a lot of 7-5 to 1s, which are 13 gear ratios. And I have 4 6s. That's it. And so I use the 7s for almost everything except for baits that I'm flipping into stuff and like, well, baits that I want to get back to me quickly. So like a jig or a Texas rig or flipping bait or a punch bait, something like that, where I'm throwing it to targets. And if I miss that target and I've only got a small window as I'm moving along, I can reel it back really fast and flip it back in there and stuff like that. That's when I use the 8-1 gear ratios. But for like chatter baits and spinner baits and crank baits and most everything else, a 7 would work just fine. And really the 7 would work for anything. So back in the day, I was burning lipless crankbaits with the fastest reel that they made at the time, and it was a 6 to 1. And I remember holding my rod up really high and reeling as fast as I could to burn a chatter or lipless or rattle trap across grass and stuff like that. That was nuts, absolutely nuts. And so then they came out with the 7 and the 8, and now they have 10s or something like that. So, but yeah, your best all around one's going to be a 7. Any tandem fishing kayak you recommend? Take along junior anglers. Whew. There's only really one tandem kayak that I would use for one reason and one reason only, is because that you don't have any control of how the other guy moves. And so if you both move the same direction at the same time, you could both fall and flip out of a lot of tandem kayaks because they weren't really made for fishing. And so the only one I would really recommend is that big, huge 17-foot Hobie tandem, and just for safety reasons. And I know a lot of guys with little kids will put them in their Hobies, or I'd put a small child in my SS 127, just make a little seat for him to sit up front because it's pretty stable. But I'm not too familiar with very many tandem kayaks that I would be comfortable with. For sure, at least having 2 people in for fishing. That is, if you're just paddling and going from one spot to the other, that's a whole different world. So, what brand is your go-to kayak? I've been sponsored by Bonafide for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, and I tell them at least once a year. You guys could fire me and I'd be back to work the next day. I just love their boat, and it doesn't matter. I just love it. And I've been in it enough to where I've tweaked all the locations of all my stuff and things like that to where I love it even more, and it just fits me. So Jason said Sinclair, the first one, the Georgia Sinclair. Yeah, I've only been to it about 3 or 4 times. So Chris, that's funny. He says, and that's a big word for me. I'm gonna try to say it. It says it's frustrating to know that due to only being able to fish a maximum of 2 times a month, I have an infinitesimal chance of winning the knucklehead tourneys. Who knows, man? You could have a really good day. I remember that those days where I just, trying to find days to fish. I mean, nowadays, this time I haven't been fishing yet this year. Of course, we're only 6 days into it, but I probably won't get to fish until I get down to Florida, unless I slip away and go catch some crappie down the road. So, my buddy David Fields. How are you and your wife doing? I love you guys. He says, "Go Dogs need to get together and do a clinic for our high school team." I remember that text and I forgot to respond to your wife. Tell her I'm in. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. That was months ago and I forgot to get back with her. So I was driving and I looked at it and I put it back down. So, Dig Outdoors, man. Thanks for the $5. And David, thanks for the 20, man. You're awesome. But yeah, we could definitely get together. I got to put together some new seminars too. So that ought to be a whole lot of fun, David. So, oh, that's Gramps. He's helping me out in the comments. Trent says, "No, really, I'm really only about 45 minutes for you. You want to take it out, come get it. And it's a Phoenix, so it's easy on the back for us bigger fellas." I love how a Phoenix rides. I really do. Even when they first started making boats, they were a really, really good hull and really felt good. So definitely. Your Georgia hat looks different. Yeah, it's a 2-tone. No, I just like this one's just super comfortable, and I'm wearing it until I wear it out. I still have my other ones that are straight red, but this one's just really, really light and really comfortable. So RJM Fishtails, we'll see you, man. See what pound line do you use for a chatterbait? Okay, so I just rigged up my 3 chatterbait rods that I'm taking to Florida. I have one that so every time I go to Florida, because there's so much grass and I fish a chatterbait so aggressive, I end up going from what my normal chatterbait rod is to a medium heavy jig rod, basically. And I put 20-pound test line on it. And the reason I put 20 is 1, the grass, I'm ripping it through and ripping it out of the grass. And 2, if I used 15-pound line, which is I normally use on a chatterbait, I'd break it. I'd break it a lot because of how aggressive I am with it. So, but for normal use, I use a 7'4" medium heavy moderate rod with 15-pound test fluorocarbon on a 7:3-to-1 gear ratio reel. And that's it. That's my bread and butter. Now, 13 Fishing, they have like 3 different models of the rods that have a 7'4" medium heavy moderate. And you won't find it in their cranking rods. You'll find it in the casting rods in Tackle Warehouse and stuff like that. Especially, and you guys that when you go to Tackle Warehouse to buy stuff, go through one of my videos and click on the affiliate link and go to Tackle Warehouse. If any of you guys ever wanted to give me any money, the best way to do it is just go buy stuff at Tackle Warehouse under my affiliate link, and they give me a little bitty percentage of the sale. Anyway, so I take and so you look on the under the casting rods for that 7'4" medium heavy moderate, and it is the perfect chatterbait rod. It's just stiff enough with just enough backbone, and it's got enough tip to be able to to work it and let the fish get it and stuff like that. But just down in Florida, I fish a medium heavy with heavier line. So Jeremy McKenna, welcome, man. Welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Of course, it's been a year since I've done these. So what setup do I use for jerk baits? A medium moderate rod, so a medium crankbait rod. With I I go back and forth between 10-pound fluoro and 12-pound fluoro. It just all depends on how deep I want to get it. And I'm really digging into jerk baits this early spring, and I'm gonna test. And I tend to use a shallow one a lot, and I don't have a whole lot of success with it. So this year I'm really gonna dig into the deeper diving ones and see if I can do different things with it. So I've seen a couple of videos that made me want to do that. So let's see. Spotlock XI3 or power pole on a yak. XI3 100%. Since I got my XI3, the power pole only goes on when I'm in Florida. The XI3 is everything I needed. And so the power pole is really nice when you're in shallow water fishing in the wind. The XI and in grass, because the XI3, when it's on slow speeds, it gets tangled in the grass quite a bit. And so, but other than that, dude, XI3, and I hate to say game changer, but it changes the way you fish when you can have spot lock. It really does. And so, yeah, it makes a difference. What do you think of favorite rods? I haven't really paid much attention to them in the last year, but I know some of the high school kids that I've done like seminars with, or the friends of my sons. There's 5 or 6 of them, and they all. I'd go up and I'd look at their rod, and it was broken or had stuff missing or handle was broken and stuff like that. And I just take them from them and give them a new rod and say, "Here, go fish with this." But they just. From what I've seen, the earlier ones were just not built very well. I just saw a lot of broken ones, a lot more than I normally do. Of course, it could have been because only teenagers were buying them back then, but I don't know. So, when are you going to hit the Okmulgee for shoalies again? I'm going to try and float from the dam to 83 first of spring. Let me get the new riverboat from Bonafide and put a little bit of time under my butt or with my butt in the seat, and I'm definitely going to go down there. I love fishing for shoalies down there. So the Flint and the Okmulgee and the Chattahoochee are some of my favorite places to fish. So Marco Navarro, I began bank fishing last summer. Don't have the funds for a bass boat. Planning on getting a Bass Pro Pond Prowler. Whew, I had one of those for a long time. What are your thoughts on these? I love them, dude. I've drug one when I was young and dumb and healthy, over a quarter of a mile through a field to get to a pond and had a blast, man. You'll love it. It's a really good boat, and it's really, really stable. Just like with a kayak, though, you just have limited space. So, oh man, Clayton F, thanks for the $10. I appreciate it, man. You're awesome. Let's see. There we go. Jason Starley, Sinclair is no good. No bass here. Seriously, though, I've been able to almost stay caught up with Gene and the guys fishing Rocky. Yeah, dude, because you fish at night. And I totally love what you're doing in Sinclair. Because you remember back in the day, you may not remember back in the day, but back, 15, 18 years ago, when I was fishing Sinclair, or I'd fish Oconee and then go down every once in a couple of days to Sinclair. But anyway, it was horrible. If you wanted to fish a tournament on Sinclair, if you caught a kicker, you were winning the tournament. If you one big fish a tournament is all would ever be caught. Everything else would just little peanuts. So it's good to see what Sinclair is now with the kind of fish that you're catching out of them. It's ridiculously cool to see it. So I don't know if I'll fish any challenges this year, but I might. Depends on what time, how good the videos are doing. Why not getting a pedal kayak? My biggest thing, I have a Bonafide or a P127, their pedal kayak, and I did something in the Army to my hip that I can't sit and pedal like this. It like within 100 yards, my hip starts to hurt. Doesn't hurt any other time except for maybe when I'm sneaking in back when I'm walking through the woods trying to get, go deer hunting and stuff like that. After about a mile, it starts to hurt. But this is like immediate. And so I really can't. I can do a Hobie. I just can't do the old egg beater style with, sitting low in the seat like that. just doesn't work for me. And I told them when they first came out with it that I'd get one and I'd try it out, but there weren't any guarantees. And that was, I knew it because my hip was just that bad. It happened when I pedaled the old Jackson pedal drive as well. So that's the reason I don't get a pedal drive. I love motors. I love paddling, and I really love to paddle. I can't wait to get on the rivers and get back to paddling again. But yeah, motors, when you're fishing as many hours as I am, it makes a big difference. So, Justin Kahn, I'm looking for a kayak. I'm a beginner. I'm 6'2", 265 pounds. I don't want to pay $1,000 for a kayak. Can you recommend a good starter yak for a big guy? Oh man. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm afraid to tell you one because I'll be wrong, but I know the best thing to do is go to one of Chad Hoover's videos and ask on one of his videos. He's a big guy. He's more knowledgeable about all of the kayaks that are out there than I am. I spent so much time with my brain in tournaments this year that I really didn't pay attention to what came out and what didn't. And another thing is go to Facebook on the Kayak Bass Fishing Facebook page. And I promise that if you ask there, you'll get like 5 or 6 answers pretty quick. So it's a pretty big page. I just don't want to tell you the wrong answer or tell you something wrong because I just don't know. So, let's see. Faith First Fishing. I don't know anything about the Dark Sleeper. I haven't had a chance to fish it yet. Michael, when you get back to making videos again to teach us Weekend Warriors, do you plan on making any videos in Middle or East Tennessee? I was so excited to see you win on Percy Priest, one of my home lakes. Man, that was a crazy tournament. That was a hot, miserable, nasty week. That's for sure. But I can't believe I pulled out the win. That's where I got that big trophy right there. Was Percy Priest. Maybe. I haven't been to Chick in a while, and I'm only an hour and 20 minutes from there. So I'm going to be fishing a lot more with Alex Rudd. So I probably will be up there fishing with him now that he's gone full time. But yeah, dude, I can't wait I want to get up there and fish a couple of them, especially, like Parksville and that kind of stuff. That'd be fun. I see 13 has a kayak spinning rod now. I assume you can talk it up. Been thinking about getting one. They're spinning kayak spinning rods are great. Most of the bait casting kayak rods are pretty good. Just the medium heavy and mainly the heavy rods, I want a longer butt and it just didn't come out with a long enough butt. Other than that, they're great. They're really good. They're made with their Omen blanks, which are some of the best blanks that they have. And they've been pretty good. They've been really good. But this year, my main setup's going to be the Fate Black, which is like $80 rod, and I'm going to be fishing with Gerald Swindle's rods, the new ones that he just came out with 13 Fishing. Just got 5 or 6 of them in the mail a couple weeks ago, and then I'm waiting on the reels. I'm gonna fish those a little bit and have a whole lot of fun with them. But my main setups are going to be all on those $80 rods. I just feel like, I don't know, that's the price point I kind of want to try out because they make great rods, but for between $80 and $100, they always have. So, hey, Fluke Master, do you have any tips for a beginner junior series angler? Any tourney tips? I mainly kayak fish, but haven't got into any of those types of events. I'll tell you my experience this year, and I kind of want to do a video about it eventually. But so my first tournament, I finished 8th down in Florida or something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But anyway, and then I bombed the one at Lake Murray, and I bombed the next one, and my decision making wasn't really good and that kind of stuff. So I kind of made an adjustment. And the biggest thing I took out of this last year and why I finished so strong this season was I decided that I was going to get there to pre-fish, and I was going to spend the first day or two literally hitting almost every boat ramp that I could hit in that short amount of time and fishing the area and trying to figure out what was happening on the lake, what was happening on the lake, and trying to figure out not a pattern, but were they spawning? Were they pre-spawn? Were they post-spawn? Were they shallow? Were they deep? Were they on points? That kind of stuff. And then figuring a pattern out from there. So like on in Kentucky, the one that I won and then got DQ'd because I was fishing. Caught one fish out of bounds in my video and told on myself, but I didn't know it was out of bounds. But I learned something really cool on that lake, and I could go to any part of the lake and catch fish. And so that's why I did so good in the second day on the second tournament. Was I literally was not scared to just go fish somewhere I've never fished before because I knew what was going on the lake and just started going. So I learned that learned that as a really good skill, was just to figure out what's going on in the lake, figure out what what they're holding on or what part of the spawn they're in, and then just narrow it down to areas of the lake and then narrow down your pattern. So sounds like a lot, but really once you've practiced it and done it several times, it's pretty easy. I hate my long hair, y'all. See, my wife loves long hair, and this is the longest my hair has ever been in 25 years. No longer than that, since I was started the Army. Drives me nuts, but she loves it, so I keep it long. What's the biggest bass I've caught? A 9 or 10 pound, 12 ounce largemouth. Caught it in Alabama. I live within 40 miles of 3 different states. Can I fish different states for the knucklehead or do it? Yeah, you can fish anywhere. It's going to be really loose and open. That's why, $15 entry fee. Yeah, it's just you enter, you go fishing, you catch 5 fish, so on and so forth. So, Gene, have you ever used yak rods? I have not, but I got 2 good buddies who are really good anglers, some of the best in the country, and they fish them and love them. So that's all I know. Like I haven't tried them. Next time I see Cody, I'll have to try them though. Gene's going to be digging into jerk baits more because of the live scope. You're 100% right, Jason. 100%. I want to learn. I've sucked so bad at jerk baits over the years, and I literally don't have any confidence in them. And I think that live scope will help me figure out what I'm doing wrong or how I can adjust, and I can really tweak stuff. And then I can make a really good in-depth video for those guys who don't have live scope, and just kind of give them an idea of what's going on under the water. I just can't visualize it. And I have the hardest time doing it with a jerk bait. Anything else I can visualize, but a jerk bait, for some reason, I just can't. So what's your go-to favorite bait? I don't know. I've always said I don't have favorites. But my go-to, it'd have to be a jackhammer. It really would have to be a jackhammer chatterbait. If I had to pick one, yeah, but it all depends on the situation, what my go-to bait would be. That's why I have a shop full of tackle. But yeah, if I had to choose one that's a go-to bait, just, chatterbait, and then go-to soft plastic, like I said earlier, would be a trick worm. So what's your opinion on the slobber knocker? Does it have its place, or is the jackhammer just all around better? I haven't put enough time with a slobber knocker in my hands. I've got half a dozen of them. I'm taking down to Florida with me, which I typically catch them really good on a chatterbait down there. So I'm going to tie a slobber knocker onto one rod, and I'm going to play around with it and figure out. It's a different sound. It's a different feel. It does come through timber, like brush piles and stuff like that, a lot better than the chatterbait. So there is a good place to fish it, but I haven't put enough time behind it. So Johnny Woodstock, have a lot of trouble out of my braid. Any tips? My guess would be you're fishing it on a bait caster. It's 40-pound test or lighter braid. That's me guessing, because this is when I've had problems with braid. For some reason, the diameter of 40-pound or lighter tends to backlash more on a bait caster. I don't know what it is, but it has something to do with that diameter, but I don't know, I scientifically, I can't explain it. But I went to 55 to 60, 50 to 65 pound braid, and I don't have that problem quite as much. That's the only time I've ever had issues with or trouble with braid. The other thing is knots. Make sure you're tying a Palomar knot. Don't tie any other knot onto your line or onto your lure from the line. You know, you get line to lure is a Palomar knot. Okay. And so I do a lot of leaders with the FG knot when I'm tying a fluorocarbon leader to the braid. But yeah, if I had to guess what your problem is, it probably has to do with your fishing lighter braid on a bait caster. So, and the way to prevent that is about every 5 or 6 casts when you reel it in, pinch your braid and keep it tight on the spool if you're fishing 40-pound or lighter. But I never do that, and I don't expect anybody else to remember to do it either. So, what is a good setup for bottom contact jigs? And glad to see you back doing this. Thanks, man. Dominic, let me think. My setup for a jig, I got 2 different setups, but I usually fish a 7.4 heavy from 13. And when I'm fishing like a jig with a heavy hook. Now, I've been fishing a lot of the Picasso tungsten football head jigs, and they have a light wire hook, which I love. And I fish a medium heavy, and I don't set the hook hard. I just reel into them and tighten down, and I catch every single fish. And that's why I love that hook so much. But yeah, that's my setup is a 8-3-1 gear ratio reel, a 20-pound, 17 to 20 to 22-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon. I use either Abrazex or Tatsu, and then I'll use a 3/8 to a 1/2 ounce jig, you know, and then the rod, of course, is a 7'4" or heavy with big hooks and a medium heavy with the thin wire hooks. So. Woo, I'm way behind in comments, aren't I? We're going to do this for about another 5 minutes. Man, maybe a little bit more. I usually only do it for an hour, but we're at an hour and 15 minutes right now. So I'm sure you have a lot of unused equipment. When is your next yard sale? That's actually a really good question, Sam. There's an app called Gato, Gato, Get All Things Outdoors. If you go onto your app store and do a search for outdoor marketplace, it's usually the first thing that pops up. It's a brand new app. I've known about it coming out for about 1.5 years now. I've been waiting for them and kind of doing some consulting with them on the side and stuff like that. Right now, the only thing available on there and under my account is my hats. But I'm going to start selling tackle on there as soon as I get, like I said, as soon as I get my video feed underneath me and realize how much time I've got, then I can go ahead and sit down and plan that. And my biggest concern is being out of town and needing to ship something, you know, and not being able to ship things. But I'm going to start cataloging all of my extra tackle and the stuff I've had sitting around for a while and start to sell it on Gato. And so there won't be any rods sold. You'll have to, if it is, you'll have to come pick them up. But yeah, that's what the plan is for sure. And to do it on Gato, and then and once that thing gets rocking and rolling, like I said, it's a brand new app, and the more people we can get, they download that free app. And it's just a place where people can go and sell. It's like an app-based garage sale for tackle, for fishing stuff and outdoor stuff. And then they have all the tools that a regular business would have. Like the guy that buys it, if you go in and buy something from me, they hold your money in escrow until you receive the product. And then you go in there and you say, okay, or the tracking number tells them that it got there, and then they release the money and put it in my account. So no matter if it's a boat or a little piece of tackle, they hold that money until the customer gets the product. That way nobody's screwed. And if the customer never gets the product, he reports it, and that money goes back to the customer. So, and they've got a whole bunch of things for people who want to sell stuff and stuff like that. I can talk about it for a while, but I'm excited about that. But that's what I'm going to do with all my unused and my lightly used stuff. I went through my reels today, and I've probably got 20 reels, 25 reels that I need to get rid of that I've fished with for about the last 5 or 6 years. So I'm sure. I mean, I see these comments. John said, I missed Friday Night Live. Good to see you, Fluke. I really appreciate these comments. I am so sorry that it took me a year to get back to doing this. But like I said, I wanted to get all into tournaments and see how good I was this year. And I figured it out, and now I'm back to doing what I'm doing. So let's see. Probably already covered it, but you should do a video on all the mistakes people make in tournaments. That's already in the plans. I did one a while ago and kind of mentioned it a little bit, but definitely going to get into that and talk about that. Talk about how to use Fishing Chaos, and then do another video about how to measure a fish, and then just kind of go through the steps so make it easier for people. That's for sure. Let's see, Joseph Nickel. I'm a barbell. I come out and you go fish with you, and I'll cut your hair. Joseph, I started cutting my own hair when I was in the Army, and I did it all the way up until about 5 months ago. Yep, I just pull out the clippers of 4 on top and a 2 on the sides, and fade it and be done with it. Put a hat on and be good. So, let's see. The local pond. What's your thought on kayak catfishing? Man, I love it when I catch a big catfish out of my kayak. I never do it on purpose, but I feel like you should hit up Justin kayak catfishing one day for an epic video. That would be fun, man. That'd be fun. I caught one on Gunnersville. Nope, that was in my boat. I caught one out here that was about 18 pounds out of my kayak, and that was a lot of fun. I caught one on my local lake last year that it fought just like a bass. I thought for sure I had a 10-pound bass on because it didn't have the little, the catfish head shakes and the rolls and stuff like that. It fought just like a largemouth, and I thought I was all shook up when I realized it was a catfish. Funny. If that had been on video, I'd have posted it. So, OEF 5. He says, make sure in that mistakes video you include the critical step of checking in on tournament day. That's for sure. You can get in some big doo-doo for that, for sure. Let's see. Thanks for the $10, man. That's funny. How do you Northerners compete with Southerners? 6 pounds is a really good fish in Central Illinois. You're right. It is. It is really good. And that's why I like length. And so length is more age related than anything. And it is growth related, but, North Carolina has great fish, and I haven't looked at the totals from other places, but, pretty good smallmouth lake can beat a largemouth lake in half the country. So now that's a stupid question. Ryan Dodson, that's a dumb question, man. Dumb. Georgia all the way, brother. All the way, man. I don't even think it's going to be close, to be honest with you. Georgia's just, I don't know. TCU's defense, the way they set up in that 3-3-5, I don't know. Unless they change their defense, it's going to be hard for them to stop the our tight ends and our runs and stuff like that. But anyway, I can get into that later. Will Junkin, what part of Georgia am I in? I live up in Rome, Georgia, up in northwest Georgia. So right in the foothills of the mountains. Ben Landry, great to see you, Fluke. Any plans on doing more tournament videos? Also, MTB Slam videos coming back. Thanks to all the awesome content. No, I'm not going to do very many videos or tournaments this year. I'm going back to doing just straight instructionals again. Going to get back into my meat and potatoes, and then MTB Slams. I'm not interested in doing any more of the subscription boxes, and it has nothing to do with the box itself. It has more to do with the companies. So, let's see. Jeremy Way, Gene, have you thought about joining us and doing IRL fishing on Twitch? IRL fishing, Jeremy, get with me on Facebook and explain that to me. So I've been wanting to do like live streams from my boat a lot, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do that from the kayak. I can't do it on my home lake because there's no signal at all, but being up and down the Tennessee River, I should be able to do it. So thanks, Michael. I appreciate it, man. And thanks for the 20, bro. That's awesome. 7 years. I've been doing this. I've been in YouTube for what, 12 years or 13 years, something like that. So any tips for Gunnersville in late April? Dude, They get out on that outside grass, I think. I'm trying to think of when I was there in April and what I was doing. Lidless crankbait worked really good. Chatterbait would work really good on submerged outside grass. So they'll be spawning too. So up in the pockets. I don't know. It's just gonna be a spawn fest mainly. So goodness. All right. I'm gonna get one more question. Can you say? Oh, can you say the name of the app? It's called Gato, Gato. Let me pull it up real quick and show you guys what it looks like. That way, that'll help out. Let's do that. Oh. That's what it looks like. It's GATO, get all things outdoors. But if you just search up outdoor marketplace, it'll pop up. And I know it's Spanish for cat. GATO is Spanish for cat, but it's anyway, it is what it is. But for sure. And what's the name of the website that my tours are I'm going to guide this year for you guys who are just joining me. I'm going to do a little bit of guiding, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days a month, that kind of stuff. But I haven't launched it totally yet, but it's Fishing Chaos. So just do a search for Fishing Chaos. It's an app and it's a website. And then you go into their charter part. You can go back and watch the beginning of this video. I explained it all and showed it to you. But go into charter and then click on charter. And then once I get mine set up, you'll be able to find my home, my guide home. So anyway. All right, guys. Well, it's been almost an hour and a half. I appreciate it. I really do. Thanks for all those who donated. I am so sorry this took me a year to get back to it, but it is what it is. I got into tournaments and got into busting my tail doing that. Now it's time to bust my tail with doing videos and back to doing Friday Night Lives. There may not be one this next week because I'll be driving down to Florida, but the next Friday I'm able to do one. You'll see one. So appreciate it, guys. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go ahead and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.